Well, obviously it was a special night. I think I give Rutgers a lot of credit because we knew it would be a grinded game. The way they play, they're physical, they're down a man, and I thought they really challenged us and made it difficult for us there in the first half. We responded better in the second half, but I give Rutgers a lot of credit. Always nice to win on senior night, and I've been on the both ends of that. But as a coach, you almost feel pressure because you really want to win anyway, but you really want to win for these four guys. So glad we were able to do that, and I'll let these guys take questions.
For both of you guys, what was it like handling the emotions with everything that went into tonight, and then Andrew getting your first career start?
Yeah, I didn't know what to think of it, honestly. I appreciate Coach Holtmann, giving me the opportunity to start in front of my family like that. But, it wasn't about really the start. It was about how we came out in those first few minutes. It set the tone, and obviously, CJ has set the tone, and for him to, accept that. And obviously he had an outstanding game, especially in that second half. So it was just a great night, seeing Joey Lane and Matt Lehman hit a three was awesome. That kind of like capped it all off. And to give those kind of speeches, it was really cool to do in front of our fans.
Yeah, this was almost the perfect way.
Yeah.
Leading up a couple days of prep, and then have a good game, and then kind of take it away so we could have our seniors walk off and have that moment. I think we'll remember that for forever. And those talks at the end, that was real. That was a lot of emotion. And, I mean, I'm so glad JT went last. We were all almost there, and then he finally let out all the emotion that we were trying to hold back.
The guys we talked to yesterday emphasized how important it was to get a win, not just because it's senior night, but because of the last two games and whatnot. How much drive was there? How much emphasis was placed on that these last couple of days?
I mean, that was kind of part of the perfect storm part, just because we came off a couple losses, but then leading the senior night, we wanted to obviously get the win against a good Rutgers team, and then send everybody off.
You obviously have another year left. The arena chanted it at you. Can you, take us through your decision to be part of this tonight? Have you made a decision? Was this just like a just-in-case type of thing? Why did you want to go through it tonight?
It was mostly just because I graduated already. So, but I mean, that we haven't talked about it at all. I'm not thinking about it at all. We just talked about it in the locker room about stuff clouding your judgment, clouding thoughts toward winning, because that's all we're thinking about right now. Now it's Indiana. Now we're looking forward to Big Ten tournament, NCAA tournament, and trying to win games. So that's all we're thinking about.
Keita, just 6 points. What are teams doing to maybe slow you down, and what can you do maybe personally to get yourself in more of a rhythm, at least offensively? Obviously, you're impacting the game in other ways, but offensively.
Yeah, like I said, this isn't a one-man team. If I don't have to score 20, like I had a really long stretch in the Big Ten where I was scoring a lot of points efficiently, but we've won games when I've had 10 points, and we obviously won a game where I had 6. So this is a good team, and if I'm not hitting shots, clearly everybody else is, and that's all I care about is winning. I don't care about getting mine and getting 15 or 20 points. That's not my goal.
Andrew, you mentioned CJ obviously taking over there in the second half. Offensively, what did Rutgers do to make it challenging for you guys down the stretch in the first half? Because they obviously closed it on a little bit of a run.
They got some offensive rebounds, got in transition a little bit, and we just weren't executing on the offensive end. I think they went on a 16. I'm so fast. They went on a 16-2 run to end the half, and that's, that was huge. And we knew that, they've come back on teams and made it a really competitive game. So it wasn't really a surprise to the coaching staff because they kind of emphasized it and come back to Coach Holtmann being a psychic, because we literally talked about they come back from big margin leads. So for us to get that start in the second half was crucial, and CJ Jackson got us going.
You said earlier about CJ accepting coming off the bench and you getting the start. Did you guys talk at all before the game about that? Did he say anything to you, or what was?
We had conversation earlier on in the day just about our guard play has to step up. We got to get our swagger back is what we called it, because we felt like we hurt us the other night, and just to kind of see his confidence rise, and my contributions as well. It was just good to see.
Andrew, obviously I want to ask you to compare the two, but this is your second senior night now, and obviously we know where you were at before.
Yeah.
Is this like a weird feeling or a different feeling than maybe before? And what were your emotions? We didn't get to talk to you after. What were your emotions playing up in Ann Arbor on Sunday?
I'll answer your second one. My emotions, it was just weird in general. You know, obviously there's a lot of plays I wish our team could get back, but I can't. You know, we got to move on. They're a really good team. I mean, they put themselves in a position to make the tournament, make the NCAA tournament. You know, like what was so great about this game was it was like a one-day prep, so we were eager to get back out on the court and, you know, try to get that bitter taste out of our mouth. And you know, the first one, I don't know if you could compare the two, because it's just such a different, I mean, literally different situation. But you know, this time I'm actually playing. Like, I knew I was going to have an opportunity. I was hoping I was going to have an opportunity to play my 5th year and try to contribute. Like last year, I contributed just by voicing my opinion. Like this year, you know, I mean, the nut house goes crazy for me every time I chuck it. Like, that stuff's special. That stuff, like, I'll remember and cherish probably for the rest of my life. So it's really cool, and it's a lot different.
Two more for the players.
When they went on that run at the end of the first half, Caleb was not on the floor. He came back, and you guys had that good run to start the second half. It didn't seem coincidental. It seemed like he was really going tonight, and that he's becoming a sort of more important. I know he's always been important, but just what have both of you seen out of Caleb and his progression this year, and do you feel him becoming sort of a guy teams are keying on that's opening things up for everybody else?
Yeah, he's definitely a big part of our team, obviously, and he's a big body. So, like, it's hard for one person to try and stop him. I mean, trying to box him out. I think he had 3 offensive boards, and they were pretty crucial in the game. So, I mean, and he keeps getting better and better. He's only a freshman, and, I mean, it's every game I feel like he's getting better and better, and it's just going to be nice to watch his development.
How about for you, Andrew?
Yeah, I mean, he's going off his point. You know, he was skilled. I remember the first time just watching him playing open gyms. Like, this guy is so skilled. A guy has a great feel around the rim, great hands, and just, you know, his presence is like, I mean, people got to sometimes double team him. So, like, just to have him out on the court is crucial for us, and he's like a huge help for our success for sure.
Andrew, you mentioned the guards trying to get their swagger back. What do you think's been lacking these last couple of games? Why do you think that was maybe missing for a little while?
I think a lot has to do with our mentality. You know, I think CJ does a great job. I mean, he's had an unbelievable year, I think, in my eyes, you know, averaging what he is and, you know, leading this team to a 14-3 record. And I couldn't be more happy for him to have this night because, you know, there's bumps and bruises throughout the course of the year. And, you know, we got exposed a little bit up in Ann Arbor and Penn State, and that's unacceptable. That's not how we got to this position. You know, getting Keita the ball, making plays for our teammates and for ourselves. Like, that's why we are where we are, making plays on both ends of the court. So, you know, that's a huge thing, and we gotta. I mean, especially moving forward, we gotta, you know, make plays for us in crucial situations as well.
Thanks, guys.
Thanks.
Really quick, what are your emotions going into this final regular season game, playing at a place where your dad played and coached, and this roller coaster past year for you? What are you feeling? As I don't know what your NBA draft stock's like, but what's your?
It's not up. I don't think I'm on.
What's your emotions as your basketball career is kind of coming to a close here?
It's coming to full circle. You know, playing at Indiana is where I grew up, where I was born, where I came back for 7th and 8th grade, where my dad was a coach, and obviously playing there, so I know the history of it, as Coach Holtmann probably does. So, you know, it's a meaningful game, but it's just like any other game. You know, we're trying to put ourselves in the best position moving forward to get to 15-3. Like, that's it. You know, like, throw emotions aside. Coach Holtmann played against Butler. I played against Michigan. Like, throw this out the window. Let's go. It can't get any weirder than that. So.
Thank you. True statement there. I don't have to give another statement, do I? Okay. All right.
Well, Chris, how did you feel to see the guys come out with the start that you guys did, with all the emotion and everything on senior night? I'm sure you're always wondering, and coming off a losing streak. How did it feel to see the guys get off to the start that they did, and then obviously rally in the second half to put them away?
Yeah, it was good. It was good to see. I thought we came out with some life to us. I thought that sometimes when you start like that, you get the sense that it's going to be kind of easier than what in reality it is, and it clearly wasn't going to be that. And give Rutgers credit, they made us feel that the last 5 to 8 minutes, and we need to be better. And I need to make sure our guys have a better understanding of that. Because I thought we did some things in the last 5 to 8 minutes that allowed Rutgers to get back into it. Having said that, give them credit. They did some things to bother us, but we need, right now we need to improve. I didn't think that we played. I thought we had some really good stretches of play here today. I thought we had some good stretches of play at Michigan. And I did not feel like that against Penn State. But right now you're trying to have a few more good stretches.
And how important was it in that stretch for Cam to play the way that he had? He seemed to maybe play with as much confidence as we've seen in a while.
He did. Playing at home probably helps with that, just the comfort level. He had some really good looks against Michigan that he's normally going to make. But the deal with Cam, as always, is he's got to continue to help us on both ends so that we can keep him, on the floor because he's a real weapon when we can do that. But, teams are going to continue to try to go at him on the other end. He's got to continue to challenge himself defensively.
Coach, from your vantage point, your guard play obviously seemed very much improved tonight. What was different for you guys? And obviously they didn't have Geo Baker, but what did they do different? What did your guys do differently that you were able to have success?
Well, that hurt him not having Geo Baker. You remembered he hurt us in game one. I think he had the flu or something. But I think our guys just seeing the ball go in a little bit. It's so. Young people today they sometimes have a hard time recovering from tough stretches of in a game or in play, and I just see the ball go in was good for him. But we need to. That's an area we need to get better in too. Guys got to be able to play through the ups and downs of a game a little bit better. But I thought CJ really responded in the second half and gave us a major lift when we needed it, and it's part of the reason I started him because I felt like we needed that from him.
I guess along those lines, what was starting Andrew and Cam not just a senior day thing? Was it maybe just trying to shake things up a little bit?
I had thought about maybe bringing CJ off the bench just to kind of relax him maybe a little bit, and he needs to play better. But I don't think I was probably going to go in that direction. This was 100% senior day stuff right now. Not every coach does it, and I almost didn't do it until I had a former player that was on my coaching staff my first year. I don't know if I told you this or not, but he kind of said, "Hey, coach, this is a big deal to players." So I started doing it my first year. And
it seemed like your perimeter guys did a really good job of penetrating today and getting. You have, I think, 44 paint points, but it wasn't like it was all Caleb and JT. Was that just how the game went for you guys, or was that a directive that CJ and Andrew in particular need to start getting some penetration?
Well, I think that was more how they were playing, and I think it's also a byproduct in some cases of the attention that Keita's getting. They just don't leave his body. They don't help off him. If he's in a gap, the gap's going to be bigger because they're so tight on Keita. And I thought our guys made some good plays in transition. CJ obviously had a couple really nice floaters. He's got to continue to drive and look to score, drive and spray it. But we want to continue to do that. We have to play tougher and with more force across the board, and that's part of that. And when teams are kind of really trying to big boy us and being really physical, you got to make them pay by getting paint touches and using your dribble, and it's something we got to continue to work on.
Chris, Cardale Jones was here tonight. I know you guys had Jonathan Hankins, Corey Lindsley with you guys in Penn State last week. What does it mean to you, and how important is it to his program for you guys to have the support of not only former basketball players, but former football players and athletes from other sports?
It's great. I think we're in this thing together, and it's great to have those guys here tonight. I think it means a lot to our guys, means a lot to our program, means a lot to me. Urban's support of our program's been incredible since the moment I got here. All our former players' support. Kirk Herbstreit, has been incredible all year and texts me after a lot of games, and his support means a lot. I think Buckeye Nation is big and strong, and they're proud of this group for what they've accomplished, and they've enjoyed watching them, and hopefully that continues.
Well, what exactly, or how limited is Caleb right now? I mean, are you kind of holding your breath every time he goes up for a rebound?
Caleb?
Yeah.
But 2 in 3 games is kind of, let's just hope it's coincidence, kind of a freakish thing. He's big, and guys are kind of flying at his feet, and I think he's going to be fine. The good thing is I don't think either one has been severe. And, our people do precautions and get x-rays done, but everything's turned out fine. He's a big guy.
And were CJ's minutes at all limited with, you said, he's been dealing with cramping and stuff. How much are you keeping an eye on that tonight, and maybe especially in the first half?
I've been given the full go-ahead to play him as much as we need to, so there's been no limitation on his minutes. It's something we're continuing to monitor, but I won't limit his minutes based on that.
I know coaches are naturally nitpicky with games, but Keita described that as a perfect storm of a night. And I assume he means more emotions and things. But from your vantage point, knowing these guys the way you do, having it result the way that it did tonight with them being able to walk and everything, was it, in your eyes, on that side of things, kind of a perfect storm?
Yeah, it was perfect in that sense that you get a chance for those guys to, celebrate with our fans. And I thought I really appreciate our fans for sticking around. They didn't have to. We had a lot that did, and I think that means a lot to our players. And if I'd want to stick around and listen to these guys too, because I think they're really special kids, so or young people. But yeah, it's been great. I've lost on senior day, and had to go through that. Not had to go through. It's my decision. I like doing that, but it's not fun when you lose. And we'll probably continue to do that. I don't know that we'll do it every year. Some of it's going to depend on the senior upperclassmen group that we have. How have they led? Would people want to hear from a group? And if we get the sense that they would, and if they led in a great way, then we want to put them in front of our fans.
I just want to ask you the same thing I asked the guys about Caleb. I know he's been important for you all year, but do you feel him getting more of a presence about him, demanding more attention out there?
I think it's really been that way for a while, Bill. To be honest with you, I think he's gotten a lot of attention since halfway through the season, really, because we went to him, started going to him pretty early in his freshman year, and he's gotten post-trapped, quite a bit. I think he's getting a little bit better at simplifying his post game, but we went to him a lot against Michigan, and sometimes he was successful and sometimes not so much. But he's got a great feel and skill. I do think he's going to have to continue to play through traps and double teams as he continues to see that. But it's been good to see. He gives us another weapon there offensively, and he had a couple defensive errors in the second half that we challenged him with. But pleased with his effort.
Coach, kind of going back to Bill's earlier question about the guard play, I know that you said a lot of tonight's lineups were about senior night, but, CJ had 18 points off the bench. He'd been kind of struggling lately. Dakich had a plus 15 as a starter. I think it's his highest plus minus of the season. Is that something you could see as possibly, a permanent thing moving forward, maybe starting Dakich and bringing CJ off the bench?
I don't think so. On a side note, I don't put a whole lot of stock into plus minus for one game, just because there's so many variables. But that was a good stat. But I don't put a whole lot of stock into it. But I don't think I will. I think I will I think we'll probably have start similar to how we did in the second half. Maybe put Andre back in there in some capacity. I'm not sure, but
like you just said, with Andre being back in there, is Cam kind of? Are you thinking about him maybe starting more back from the suspension?
Yeah, I've got to look at it. Probably going to be him or Andre. Not sure yet. I think Andre had another solid game for us. I've just been really pleased with what he's given us. So I've got to continue to look at it, but we'll see. Okay, thanks, guys.